Okay guys, so I wanted to tell you guys my thoughts on this situation based on what I've been looking into regarding the live stream that NewJeans did. I'm just going to kind of give you guys the rundown of what I think, what I believe. I'm prefacing this by saying that I am more so on NewJeans' side than anybody else's, but in the sense that I think that they need help. Mental help, psychological help, emotional, all that stuff. They need help to get away from this. That's what I mean by I'm on their side. As far as what they're advocating for Min Hee-jin to come back, I'm not on their side with that one, because I have seen what's been going on, and I'd strongly believe Min Hee-jin is a manipulative piece of crap person. That's just my opinion. I believe she's manipulative, not just to the press and the media, but to the girls. I feel like the girls are being used by her as her mouthpiece, especially for that live stream. That's just my opinion. They stated in the live stream that they feel like they are being mistreated. They feel like the new CEO does not trust them. Everything's changing so fast. And perhaps not only are they changing the CEO, but they're changing the style in which their music was made. They're changing a lot of things about NewJeans as far as aesthetic, probably changing the direction creatively that they're going in, and NewJeans doesn't like it. And so they want Min Hee-jin back in that way as well, so that they can stay on track. The problem is, firstly, that they want Min Hee-jin back. That's a big no-no. Not after everything she's done. Absolutely not. So that's problem number one. The second problem is, I don't see this live stream working in their favor, because they did just come out and basically slam Hybe. They did just come out and say, hey, we're being mistreated. I don't even know if what they're saying about the mistreatment is true. Nobody does. That's the problem. It's like, oh, you know, we got to take it seriously what they're saying. But at the same time, it's like, we don't know if they're even being honest with us, because I feel like Min Hee-jin has manipulated them to the point where they're just following after her footsteps. That's just my opinion. Okay, it's not definitive. It's not, you know, the fact of the matter. That's just how I feel about this. Yes, we should take their words to heart and take what they're saying seriously. Absolutely. But there's that inner gut feeling that I have that something's not right. And it's not that I want something to be wrong. I can see the writing on the wall, and it just doesn't look good for the girls right now. I don't see their career bouncing back in the way that they would want it to by them coming out and doing a live stream. Okay, I don't see that happening. I'm worried that more than anything else, I like, forget the career side, I'm worried that their mental health has been affected by all of this stuff. And listen, I believe Min Hee-jin is a terrible person. She's proved it. The cacao messages proved it. What Hybe found in the interim audit and beyond that proved it. The court confirming the suspicions that both Hybe and we already had about Min Hee-jin's plot proved it. And going further back, before all of that stuff happened, everything she said in the 2-hour press conference proved it. Yes, there's still a investigation and case going on, so I'm trying to act within the seriousness of that and in the realization of that's still happening. But my whole point of making this video was to say it's very difficult to make the video that I'm trying to make now because of how much stuff I don't know is even going on behind the scenes. That said, I am going to say this. I strongly believe that Min Hee-jin has a hand in this, and that is my opinion based on everything that we know about Min Hee-jin and what she's done, and also how NewJeans have also behaved themselves as a result. And I would go even so far as to say that I don't even think NewJeans would be acting in the way that they have if Min Hee-jin was not involved in their lives or career in any way. If they had a whole different CEO that didn't act like Min Hee-jin and didn't behave like Min Hee-jin, I think that the girls would not have been acting out like this. I don't believe that their actions and behavior just came out of nowhere, or that no one was there to show them or teach them or be involved in their development while they were going through the stages of puberty and even into young adulthood. I strongly believe that Min Hee-jin has influenced them in this way, because I don't think that this behavior would be seen out of them if Min Hee-jin was not in the picture. I think that them coming forward was a bold move. Yes, they're well within their rights to speak up for themselves. The problem I have with the live stream is that they weren't really speaking up for themselves. They were speaking up for their former CEO and calling her CEO as if she's still in power while disrespecting the current CEO. And then the Honey situation, which she was talking about how one of the managers had said to ignore her, and then Hybe reportedly had pulled the CCTV footage up and it didn't show what Honey was talking about. So her testimony kind of works against her if it doesn't show what she's talking about. So there's problems in all of this that I'm noticing and seeing. And the girls just came across as very disrespectful to Hybe, very disrespectful to their new CEO. They were making demands in the form of requests. It was just terrible. And speaking about her in such a way that it's like, well, we can't really do anything without Min Hee-jin. We don't know how we're going to go on. And I'm just, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, just go on. Just be quiet. Do what you're supposed to do, right? Perhaps, and this is my honest little opinion, perhaps the CEO doesn't trust you, the current one, because you're too deep in with Min Hee-jin. Like, remember Min Hee-jin was saying in the press conference that the girls called her and were comforting her, painting the picture of this tight-knit family that calls each other and comforts each other and all this other stuff. And though it might have this sound to it that gives off this feeling from viewers of sympathy, in reality, they're too close. Closer than a manager or CEO should be to their artists, to the point where it's like, this is not a normal kind of relationship that they have with each other. It sounds very unhealthy, especially when she says, they called me and comforted me. And it was just like, that don't sound right. You are like in your 40s and you got these kids comforting you. That already was bad. Not to mention the justification for the cookie song. It's like there's two extremes. Either you can look at what's going on right now with Min Hee-jin, with the girls, with Hybe, ADOR, and all that, and then like kind of dismiss what Min Hee-jin did and set it apart from what the girls are doing. Or you can look at what the girls are doing, look at what Min Hee-jin has done, and try to connect the dots. Apparently, it's become dangerous to just deny or dismiss everything that has happened with Min Hee-jin and what has come out about her, and then imply that, well, NewJeans are probably acting on their own completely. And then it's also equally dangerous, apparently, to link Min Hee-jin and NewJeans together, even though NewJeans have said in the live stream that basically NewJeans and Min Hee-jin are one entity. You cannot separate the two. It's like I understand from the aspect of these are young girls who need that role model, that mother figure or that parental figure in their life to help guide them. But they talk about her in a way that's very, I don't even know how to describe it. It just kind of makes me feel a little nervous about what's really going on behind the scenes. And that's why this is such a hard thing to talk about, because there's just too many things we don't know. I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. Which brings me to another point. I'm sure many of you probably have heard people saying things like, nobody knows Korea and what goes on in Korea like Koreans do. However, I don't know if Koreans generally know exactly how the K-pop industry works. I don't know that. Now, a lot of us in the West don't know what goes on in the entertainment system. We know some of the things that go on, but we don't know all of it. But I also think that's true for Korea as well. Unless you were a trainee or you've been in the system at any point in time in any kind of position, you probably won't know unless you hear it from someone who actually went through it, which is the same thing that Americans do. So I'm not so sure that it's simply a matter of us speaking over Koreans, but I can definitely see that as well, because there are Americans that act like they know better than Koreans because they believe what they believe about a situation. There are people in Korea who believed Min Hee-jin, probably still believe Min Hee-jin and support Min Hee-jin. And there's people like me who don't trust Min Hee-jin at all. They can put out their opinion and throw their support for Min Hee-jin. I can put out my opinion and deny her support and talk about what I think is really messed up about the situation that's going on. But this is one of those situations where the only reason why I'm even speaking about it at all is because I'm concerned for the girls. They're the ones that have been dragged through the mud by Min Hee-jin. They're the ones who were thrown into this whole mess that Min Hee-jin created for them. She said, hey, let's leave the kids out of this. This is between grown adults. Let's leave the children out. Don't bring the children into this, right? But she's the main one who brought NewJeans and Eyelit and all these other groups' names into the conversation. She brought them in. And then the fact that, again, she said that the girls called her and they were comforting her. And that to me says a lot. And it's just like, I can't just sit here and ignore certain pieces of information just so that people who don't agree with my position can feel better. All of it paints the picture that there's a manipulator and there's the manipulated. And I strongly believe that these girls have been manipulated. I really do. I can't just sit here and make a video and just put out the information everybody already knows, because everybody already knows what happened in the live stream. Like, there's dozens of YouTubers that have covered all this. So I'm here to give my take. And my take is, I believe, personally, I don't think that this was a wise decision. You know, if you want to make the live stream, go ahead. However, you're giving Min Hee-jin all the credit. The people that worked hard to help you girls become what you are, all the credit. You haven't given yourselves any credit. I don't know why you haven't given yourselves any credit. I understand this, oh, well, you know, self-praising might have a bad look to it, but give yourself some credit. Y'all are talented girls. Highly talented girls who I believe could pull off any concept they ever wanted to do if they wanted to. Yeah, I'm just concerned because a lot of the things that they were saying in the live stream, I feel like it points to a bigger issue, and that is there's potentially manipulation going on. Her personality and the way that she has been conducting herself throughout this whole thing has been nothing but manipulative. So it's just like, it's hard for me to say that her personality towards them has been different from her personality and her attitude and actions towards everybody else. Because if she is trying to switch personalities with NewJeans and with everybody else, that's still a form of manipulation because she's not being honest to the girls. At least that's my opinion. So yes, I have a lot of things to say about this. I've heard the news about Jungkook allegedly supporting NewJeans and saying things like, don't use them. And I haven't really talked about it because I don't know if that's true or not, that he actually did leave those in support for NewJeans. So I can't really say one way or the other. But if you put the puzzle pieces together, then you'll figure it out. I think that the biggest issue I have with, like, oh, we have to treat this as a very, very super sensitive thing, which I do agree with. But I think there's a bit of a problem with the way in which some would maybe think that we should handle it, is like, don't look into the matter and see the obvious problems, because yet there are problems probably in the background. I'm not someone who believes themselves to be an authority on all things K-pop industry related. Never have been. I only state what I believe is going on based on what has been reported and based on what idols have said in the past about the industry. I don't know how much dirt Hybe has, if they have any. I don't know. So it's like, I take the girls' statement seriously, but I don't know if I can trust what they're saying because I sense Min Hee-jin influence. Some people would be like, no, they're not being influenced by Min Hee-jin. Well, how do you know they're not being influenced by Min Hee-jin? Is because they simply said at the beginning that we were worried that people would accuse us of doing this live stream on behest of Min Hee-jin. Well, I understand why they made that point at the beginning, because the vast majority of what they said throughout the rest of the live stream was nothing but advocating for Min Hee-jin. So it's like, I commend the girls, but at the same time, you're not talking about your career unless it's tied to Min Hee-jin. You're not talking about your concepts and your style, the identity that you have as NewJeans, apart from Min Hee-jin. It's as if you're saying, apart from her, we have no identity. And so we have to start over, but we don't want to start over. So we're going to make demands of Hybe, and we're going to basically kind of low-key threaten them. They kind of low-key threatened Hybe and then gave a date, the 25th. We need to have her installed as CEO by the 24th. That's what we want. They came across in a more of a requesting kind of manner, but near the end of the live stream, that's when they really started not holding back and really giving Hybe a piece of their mind. So there's a problem. I really do sense there's a problem with NewJeans, Min Hee-jin, Hybe, ADOR, all of this. I've never believed that Hybe was a perfect company. I never even advocated for them. I do believe that Hybe was in the right to make that audit, the interim audit that they did, because they saw bad things happening on Min Hee-jin's side and ADOR's side. They did the right thing, but I'm not saying that I'm on Hybe's side, because I'm not. I want the girls to be okay. And right now, I think there's more going on than just Min Hee-jin is absent from ADOR as CEO. There's much more going on. I strongly believe that the girls probably don't even know how big and massive of a mess that they've been put in. I think none of this would have happened if Min Hee-jin was not involved. All of this crap spurs from Min Hee-jin, including the girls' bad and rebellious behavior against authority. Yeah, the new CEO doesn't trust the girls. That's not a surprise considering how Min Hee-jin has described the relationship between the girls and her. They are so connected together, and I understand that there's a bond that was made between her and the girls for 3 years. I understand that they've been on this journey with Min Hee-jin from the beginning. Technically not from the beginning. It didn't start with Min Hee-jin and ADOR. It started with Source Music. But if you want to get technical, they've been doing this stuff with Min Hee-jin for 3 years. So I understand the bond there and the connection. However, I'm just hoping it's not an unhealthy one, especially with everything that we know about Min Hee-jin and her personality. I'm just hoping that it's not a manipulation thing. I'm hoping it's not, but I don't know. That's why it is so hard to talk about this. I understand that some of the girls are past the puberty age as far as their physical development, but then there's so many other different aspects to the development in puberty. Things that I would say aren't fully developed yet. When it comes to identity development continues throughout one's lifetime. But adolescence is generally the first time that individuals begin to think about how their identity may affect their lives. The development of a strong and stable sense of self is widely considered to be one of the central tasks of adolescence. Our identities are not simply our own creation, which is a very important thing that I should note. Identities grow in response to both internal and external factors. To some extent, each of us chooses an identity, but identities are also formed by forces outside of our control. Identity is dynamic and complex and changes over time. And that's very important to note, especially when it says our identities are not simply our own creation, but identities grow in response to both internal and external factors. Could it be, and this is just my opinion, based on Min Hee-jin's actions, her conduct, what she's done, what has come out that she's tried to conceal, and how I believe it has had an effect on the girls' actions as of late? Could it be that their identity development is being compromised by Min Hee-jin's actions, by what she's done, possibly to even the girls, manipulating them, possibly? Like, this is just stuff that I consider. You know, emotional development, social development, moral development, cognitive and brain development, all of these factors are still at play, regardless of whether they're past the age of puberty or not. All of these factors are still at play, and I'm just worried for the girls. I really am. At this point, I just want the girls to get what they need, not what they want, because what they want can oftentimes not be what they need. I will say this, they definitely don't need Min Hee-jin back. No, absolutely not. That's a no-no for me. Min Hee-jin had claimed that there was mistreatment in Hybe. But then come to find out, the very mistreatment that she accused Hybe of having, she had within her own company. So it's just like, what's going on? Is Hybe mistreating the girls? Or was Min Hee-jin just trying to deflect and talk about, oh, Hybe has mistreatment. They're accusing me of mistreatment. Hybe has mistreatment. And then the live stream, with the girls talking as if they can't do anything apart from Min Hee-jin, and that Min Hee-jin is their end-all be-all of their career. It's like life or death. We have to have Min Hee-jin or else we can't function. If Min Hee-jin's not here, we're in trouble. And it's just like, no. No. There's too much going on. And it's like, did Min Hee-jin put that in y'all's minds? Did she convince y'all that you're nothing without her? I know she's pretty much so much as said that in the cacao messages. The girls can do nothing. Well, I do this and I do that and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and me. It's very much a Luciferian way of thinking with her. It's just me. My girls, mine, me. That's all I've seen from Min Hee-jin is selfishness. And so I just can't trust that the girls are 100% honest when they've had someone like Min Hee-jin guiding them for 3 years of their lives. Very crucial moments of their lives, like during the puberty phase and all that. I'm just concerned, okay? Now, I will say this, and this will be my last point. To those of you who are in Korea, who are Korean, and to those of you who are not Korean, who would say to someone like me, you should not be talking about this because you don't understand Korea or Korean culture, therefore you shouldn't speak about things like this. Let me just say, firstly, that you're right. I don't understand Korean culture. However, I did not know that manipulation in Korea is seen as something different from manipulation everywhere else in the world. And don't get me wrong, I understand where Koreans and some Westerners are coming from when they say things like that. However, I also feel like that line of reasoning is being used as a method by which to silence people by telling them you're not allowed to speak about this because you're not Korean and that you should basically stay out of Korean business. Even though this Korean business, as you say, is made public to everyone, regardless of whether or not you are from Korea or the West. Doesn't matter. And it's also being used as a way to gaslight people into believing only what Koreans tell them, and ultimately to disparage people like you and I from looking into the matter for ourselves and drawing our own conclusions based on our findings. It's like telling me, regardless of your findings and your hard work and research into the matter, you need to believe what we Koreans are telling you foreigners because you don't know anything about Korean culture. You're not a Korean, therefore that disqualifies you from making up your own mind and coming to your own conclusions about what you're looking into. It's almost like they're saying, by virtue of us being Koreans, you have to just accept what we tell you about this issue or that issue and move on. And to me, that is just not acceptable. I understand that it's probably coming from a place of wanting to protect your country from foreign thoughts and foreign opinions, but in truth, all you're really doing is weaponizing Korean culture against foreigners who don't agree with you, and foreigners who have a different thought and opinion and viewpoint than the people who are not of a certain ethnicity and are not from a certain country. It's not enough for me to simply abide by Koreans and fellow foreigners telling me what you looked into and what you witnessed is not really what you saw because you don't understand Korean culture. Well, I may not understand all of Korean culture, but I do understand honorifics. And that if you use honorifics in a certain way to certain people who are no longer in a position of power, it is seen as disrespectful, especially to someone who is now the current CEO. And then when you don't use the proper terminology to refer to your current CEO that's in charge of you, it is also very disrespectful in Korean culture. So I understand that much. The Depunim thing, that does not belong to Min Hee-jin anymore. Yet they called her that, and as a result, that's disrespectful to the current CEO who's in charge of them. And it is also disrespectful to not refer to your current CEO in the proper honorifics that you're supposed to apply to the name of that person. And I'm just using that as an example. Will people still tell me that what I just said about honorifics is me not understanding Korean culture? Oh, you're not understanding the full context of what was said and how it was stated? I feel like the goalpost will be moved so many times because I'll be looking into it and saying, this is what I've seen happen. And they'll keep on saying, nope, you're still wrong. Nope, you're still wrong. Nope, you're still wrong. Nope, you don't understand Korean culture. You don't understand Korean culture. And it's all in an effort to protect their country and culture and to defend against what they perceive is an attack on their country and their culture by foreigners having a difference of opinion and having a different viewpoint and perspective on the same situation, but coming to a different conclusion on the situations apart from the conclusions that Koreans who live in Korea would come to. Let's say for argument's sake that I do agree with Koreans on some things, or particularly this situation. Does that mean then that I understand Korean culture to the T? No. They're not going to say that I don't understand Korean culture if I agree with them. That's why I say Korean culture is being weaponized against foreigners who disagree, because unless you agree with them, they won't accept anything you say and they'll see it as an attack. And let me be clear, not all Koreans are like this. I'm not trying to generalize and say that all Koreans do this. Not all Koreans attack foreigners for having a difference of opinion. I'm just saying this is for the ones that do. This is what I'm saying to you. I'm just talking about my opinion on NewJeans and Min Hee-jin and Hybe and ADOR and all this stuff. I'm not talking about Korean culture, but they have to throw Korean culture in there to get us to shut up. And sometimes it works. Disparaging people from looking into a matter by using your country and culture as a weapon against them is just wrong, and I totally disagree with it. And the way in which you use Korean culture to basically silence people from having an opinion or seeing things from a different perspective than you would. If someone in my country does something stupid or breaks the law or is manipulative or is gaslighting someone or is doing anything like a celebrity or whatever the case, you will not find me telling Koreans or any other ethnic groups, don't lie about my country, you don't know my country's culture, so don't talk about it. Last I checked, manipulation in the West is the same as manipulation in Korea or any other part of the world, irregardless of the culture differences. It's like when black people pull out the black card. When a black person is being stumped by an argument or being told off, being told that they're wrong because they are, and they don't have an argument, or the argument they presented is not strong enough compared to what has been presented against their argument, they pull out the black card and begin to talk about, the black experience. And they do that to shut people who aren't black up. And then if you do say something against it, you're considered a racist or something. And that's how I feel about the whole Korean culture thing, trying to use that as a way to tell people, hey, you don't need to talk about this. This is none of your business. This is Korean culture. Leave our country alone. Stay over there in your area and we'll stay over here in ours, which is BS, because Koreans have said things against artists who've collaborated or had some interaction with BTS in the past, had claimed that those artists were trying to use BTS for clout and things like that. If Koreans can talk about that, and I don't really care if they're right or wrong, they could be right or wrong and it doesn't matter to me. They're probably right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're wrong because I want to defend my country and my culture and all that stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and gaslight you and tell you, oh no, don't talk about the celebrities over here in the West because it's a different culture. It's a different culture. It's not manipulation, or it's not trying to clout chase or anything like that. It's not gaslighting. No. It is what it is. And if Koreans can see that in our country, irregardless of cultural differences, then surely I can see something that is wrong and call it out and give my take and my opinion on it, irregardless of, again, cultural differences that really in these situations don't really mean much. Manipulation is manipulation, regardless. And that's my point there. It's like if you don't take my position on a matter, then you don't understand Korean culture. Like, what is that? No, it's literally the same thing. Like I just said with celebrities. Let's talk about the West. Andrew Tate. I believe he's an ex-trafficker. I'm saying X because I don't want YouTube to get me. A Korean might think that he's not an ex-trafficker, perhaps. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, you don't understand the Western culture. And it's like a way for me to try to almost like defend Andrew Tate by bringing up Western culture. My God, it's gaslighting. And it's me trying to disparage a Korean from looking into the matter for themselves, or to tell them that they're wrong for actually believing what they believe. And that's wrong. You know, if a celebrity is using BTS for clout, again, like I said, and Koreans are pointing it out, and then Westerns are like, no, you don't understand Western culture, American culture, or European culture, or whatever. You don't understand. You don't understand. They're not using them for clout. They're actually friends. And some of them are actually friends and not using them for clout. Some of them and others of them are using them for clout because BTS is popping. They're relevant. So what do? They try to get in good with them and use them for clout. You know, whether it's true or not, if you have an opinion that a celebrity in the West is doing something wrong, I'm not going out of my way to defend this person and do it in the name of culture. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you know, because you don't see things the way I see it and it's my country, you don't understand American culture and you need to stop talking about it. I really hate that. I resent that perspective, actually. You know, and it kind of destroys the whole nationalistic spirit of South Korea, that South Korea being the entertainment hub that it is. You want your culture to reverberate throughout the world in all different forms of media. Why then, in certain parts of media, you despise when people look into a matter and you say, no, that's not what it is. You don't understand Korean culture. You need to stop talking about it. You have no common sense. You can't think straight. It's not manipulation. You know, I don't know it's manipulation. I'm just saying what I believe. You don't know if it's not manipulation. You're just saying what you believe. So why can't that be all she wrote until we see the whole thing? And also, regarding my opinion, it's not just some accusations that I happen to make up out of the blue that came out of nowhere. Because there is a history of negative influence, of manipulation, using people, and abusing power. Yeah, I'm drawing my personal conclusions and convictions based on what has been presented. And based on what is presented, you're drawing your conclusions. Or should I say what hasn't been presented or confirmed. You're drawing your conclusion. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a spreading of misinformation or anything like that. We just have difference of opinion on something that can be identified in the West, just like any other part of the world. So there's no need to get upset, angry, or try to fight Westerners tooth and nail. Westerners don't try to fight Koreans tooth and nail when you have your own opinion. Of course, there's going to be fighting of some sort because they're going to feel like, again, it's an attack on our country and our culture from foreigners who are on the outside looking in. But we're getting the same information. We're getting the same information that Korea's getting. No one's getting different information. We're even getting the same misinformation that Korea's been getting. Now, there's misinformation from the media that I'm trying to like filter out. And hey, I don't get it right all the time, but I do try to make an effort to learn, understand, and grow and become a better K-tuber and a better, I don't mean to say reporter or journalist, but I want to do my due diligence when I am doing journalist kind of things. So yeah, y'all heard my heart. Y'all heard what I had to say about it. I'm going to leave the conversation in your hands. What do you guys think about what I've said? How I feel about this whole thing? Let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. Do you feel like at this point, the only thing that really matters is the safety of the girls and for them to get help? And do you feel also that they are being manipulated? Or do you feel like they're not being manipulated and it's just all them? They're just totally 100,000% responsible for everything. Let me know what you guys feel about this in the comment section below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, love you guys. Peace. Bye.